My mom was divorced when I was really, really young. I don't even remember my dad. From age 9 to 16, I was sexually abused by a family member. To kind of feel the pain, I got into drugs. I got into cocaine and married my first husband, and I was physically abused by him. I was wanting to get out of that situation, and then I got a job with Foodland, and that's where I met Dan.
We met over the phone at work. She worked in the office, I worked in the stores. And I remember going over to her house on the ranch, and I never went back home.
And Dan and I got involved. We had 2 children of our own, so we had 2 of his, 2 of mine, and 2 of ours. And in 1996, we went to a seminar up in the mainland. And this man, Bill Britt, was speaking about Christianity, and he did an altar call. And I just started moving. I just started going towards the stage. Dan followed me, and I felt that this is the point. This is where my life, just changes.
From there, when we came back, our friends told us about New Hope. So, I'm on top of the world. I've got a pretty good job. My family's all involved in church. This is pretty cool. And then it happened.
In '09, Facebook came about. My first boyfriend messaged me, and that's where it went downhill from there. I was hiding it from Dan. My daughter found out and called me out on it in front of him, and so I started to tell Dan what was going on, and I know he was hurt. I just felt like I couldn't go on. So I went in the bathroom and I took 100 Benadryl pills to try and kill myself.
She comes out, and next thing I know, she's taking a whole bunch of pills. So I tell the kids, call 911, call for an ambulance. And then I'll never forget, July 27, she tells me I'm moving out.
Well, this went on for about a year. I moved out in July. About 6 months later, Michael started staying overnight. And then he would bring clothes over. And before I knew it, it was so subtle, but before I knew it, he was staying with me. Dan, throughout the whole year, was sending me messages of how much he loved me. Songs that we enjoyed together, he would send me. Some passages from the Bible he would send me. At first, it made me feel like, okay, now you want me back, so you're doing all the right things. But eventually, it started feeling like, he loves me unconditionally. I'm doing this to him. I'm away from him. He wants me home. But he continues to reach out to me.
I could have easily gone back and said, you know what, the hell with church, the hell with all of this. I'm just going to go by myself and disappear. She obviously doesn't want me. The kids are all adults. They don't need me. I'm just going to disappear. But I remember along the way, people telling me that's when you need to hang on to Christ the most, is when you're down. And I thank God right now that I had the faith of a mustard seed. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be at church right now. Prayer requests. Pray for my wife, I want to come home. And every week I would put that in, every week. I remember John telling me one Sunday, hey, Dan, we got your prayer request here. We got it. I said, I understand, but I'm not going to stop until my wife comes home.
I got into a big argument with Michael. So much so that I told him to take his stuff and leave. And then I got to where I was trying to stand up on my own. I was laying down on my bed, on my stomach, and my stomach got really, really cramped to where I knew I was gonna be throwing up. So I went in the bathroom, and I didn't know where this food was coming from, but I was throwing up my guts. And I was crying the whole time because I'm like, Lord, what is happening? I started to urinate, and I couldn't stop it from coming out, and I was throwing up and crying out to God, like, God, what is this? Is this the poison in my body? What is this? And it kept coming, and it wasn't slowing down. And all of a sudden I said, Lord, I submit to you. I submit to you. I want to obey your word. Give me the strength to submit to you. I surrender, I surrender. And let me tell you, everything stopped at that point. And I sat there and I cried for maybe a half an hour. And I told myself it would be really nice to see Dan, but I need some support. So I decided to go to church. And I walked in and I saw he was playing. He had no idea I was coming.
And I saw her walk through the side doors. And I went, wow, you're good, you're good.
And when they called the community prayer, he ran to me and I knew I was home. So we hugged each other and we hugged each other so very long.
And it's been a work in progress. You know, I like to say that, you know, we rode off in the sunset and lived happily ever after. But when she came back, that's when the work started.
So we started praying every morning before work. And no matter what happened the night before, we were gonna pray before we go to work. Baptism came up on the screen. And I told Dan that night, I said, how do you feel about being baptized? And that was an amazing experience to see everybody come out and support us. Coming to community church, I was invited, and the first time we got back together is the first time I attended community church in Haina. And the welcoming from every single person, I felt like I never left, honestly. They greeted me as if I was there the Sunday before. I can honestly say I look forward to Sundays because sometimes I've been around so many worldly people that I crave the love and the devotion to God by everybody at church. It's like a family. It really is like a family. I feel like that's what makes our Lord happy, you know? I want to make him happy.